Hello, welcome back to Alora Essentials. In this tutorial, we are going to have an introduction into an application. In the previous videos, we've been getting acquainted with the interfaces, how to create a website and all that. But okay, so you've created your website, you have your first page. What are you going to do? Okay, let's get right to it. And we know how to create pages, right? So I'm just going to go straight away and create a new page. Let's call it test page, and basically we are just going to have it. Okay, so we click on that. We are going to call this new page test page, so we are just going to type test here, right? Okay, or let's just make it simple and click submit. Now our page has been created. What we need to go and do is double click it to edit it. I'm sure you know that because we did that in the previous video. That's a wonderful fresh start we have here. So now I'm going to show you some few basic elements in Alora or ideas that you're going to use in building your website as long as you use Alora. So let's get started. The first concept you have to get your mind around is sections, right? So sections are sort of containers that bring an idea together. So on your website, you would have to be building your website in various sections, right? You can divide your websites into different sections and you're going to build it in Alora. There are a few benefits to working with like this, though the sections must flow and must interact with each other seamlessly. When you break your website into sections, what it does is you can save the sections and use them later. They are going to present one idea to the user or the person watching the website. So each section is clearly defined or complementary to the section before, and it makes your website easier to build, right? So then in each section, you can have a block. A block is also a container for grouping elements. Now I'm going to show you why you need to have blocks and sections before I go to the other elements. So let's say there's a section that we have here, and the first thing that you have created in any page you have is a section, and you can see is the first add section. I've added another section over here. I'm going to add a note to it. Now notes are basically things that you add to elements in Let's Go to give it a certain look, feel, that change the position. It deals with position, look, feel, and interaction with other elements. So for example, I want to add background color to this. I want to change the background color. I need to add a background color node, right? And then when I go to the applied nodes, you can see that the background color is over there. It's really very simple. It's just English. Okay, so for example, I want to add something, background image. I can just double click it here, and you can see my background image is just added. So for now, I don't need a background image, so I'm just going to delete this, right? And for now, I'm just going to add a simple block to the section. Now, as you can see that we have a block added to the section, right? A section presents an idea. A block is sort of a component that helps you put elements together, group elements together so that you can deal with it easily. So let's say you are building in this section, you want to have an image and a text. There are two ways to do it. You can add the images directly to this section by just clicking on an image. You can see the image added by clicking on the text. You can see the text added here, right? But then you have to move each of these elements separately, right? In order to get them to be where you want them to be. In most cases, what you would want to do is to group this element. If you have only this text and image in the section, that's fine. But if you're going to have multiple images and text and other elements in the section, it's better to group them in a block. So it's totally up to you what you want to do. So in this case, what I could have is click on the block, add the image rather to the block, and add the text also to the block. And what we have here is something that I can move wherever I want to. And also, if I want, I could just press Ctrl D to duplicate the whole section. I just duplicated a section, but what I want to duplicate is the block. so that if I really have to have multiple things looking the same, or multiple blocks with images and text inside, then I could just duplicate this and I'll be good. Whereas if I was doing it directly in this section, I would have to duplicate each of these elements and arrange them. That's a whole lot of work I don't want to do. So basically, the blocks allow you to organize things in a section, right? Now, if you're a designer, you can identify with this what I'm saying. If you are not, there's no need to worry about it. You have the freedom to build your website anyhow you want to, but I want you to get it from the beginning, that building this way makes it easier. And you know, one thing you can do, you can just select this and save this as a section style. So in this case, it's a block style that you can use later on. Now, as you can see, we are building our website simply. There are other elements that you can add. We have a button here, so I'm just going to add a button to this. And as you can see, I have my button added to this one. And there are other things that you can add. You can add a form element. You can add an audio. You can add a video, embed a video in there. But then in most cases, I wouldn't, except in you need to put a video element directly in a block or a section. There are other ways to include video in your website, which is going to be easier to deal with and manage. By putting the video element here, you would have to manage the video that you're uploading. You have to upload the video to your website or to your assets to be able to input the video in here. But whereas in most cases, what you could probably do is just have a button and link it so that it loads a video from YouTube, from a video hosting website, and then it pops up on your space, on your screen, and then the users can actually watch whatever video to make it faster, to make your website faster. Now you can have also a form element added in, so you can build your forms. So basically, one thing I would have to let you know though, that form elements must be placed in a block, right? Form elements must be placed in a block. So you can't place a form element in a section. You could, but it would actually not work, except you don't really want the form to work. So all your forms would have to be in a block. So if you are building a contact form, you need to add all your forms in the block, as I'm doing here, and then finally you add a button to it to submit the form that you've just created. So we are going to go over this deeply when we are building our portfolio website, because we are going to have a contact page in the portfolio website, which I'll explain to you how to build all these things. Now I'm just taking you through the basic introduction to the software and how to do it. So far, we've been dragging things around indiscriminately. Just drag things around and position them wherever we want to position them. And you can see these blue marks coming around for you to see how to actually position these in relation to other elements on the page. That's also something that you have to look at. Now, you can move sections anyhow you want them, but sections basically are normally mostly 100% width, right, of the full page. If you want to do anything in there, like half designs or 50-50 designs, but you are going to have to use a block, and then you do that. So that's a whole lot. Let's just try and build something, right? By deleting this, you don't need this anymore. So let's just click this section, scroll it down, and I'm going to give the background color. Press Ctrl S to save. Now, one thing you have to understand about saving is that let me demonstrate it. So if you add a section, okay, so if you add any element, let's say a block, right, and I click on this block and I work on it. Now you see I've not saved the settings or the changes I've made to this block. As soon as I click another block section, any other element, the previous settings, the settings for the previous element I was working on get saved automatically. Now, what if this is the last element I work on? Then you have to press Ctrl S to save, right? But we did this in order to help you work faster, because it's going to be very annoying that if you have to save all the time. Now, I'm just going to put my thing here. I'm sort of building a design, so I'm just going to put in a simple design, right? Okay. Now I'm going to change the background color. So as we said, to change the element, you have to go to applied nodes, and then we are going to change the background color of this element into something that is going to be interesting, right? So now the width of this element, now as you can see, you just look at the flow with which I'm working, and I'm going to explain as much as I can, and I'm sure you're going to get more as we start working with the software. Now I'm going to change the percentage, because right now I want this to be 40% of the width of the whole thing. So I just want it to be 40%, right? And I switch back to pixels. The basic unit the software is working in is in pixels. So if you change to any other unit, remember to change it back to pixels so that you don't have to mess up your design. Now that I have this, what I really want to do is have text in there, right? I'm going to put text in here, and what I'm going to do with this text is I'm going to change the font size and make it 60 pixels, right? So as I said, it's also a node, right? And I'm going to change the line height and make it 65, right? You can use these plus icons. Now I'm going to make it justified to the left, and that is it. Now let me write something inside here, right? Now you can change the text by typing something here, or you can go directly click here, which is the best, that is what I normally do, and I'm just going to type something here, the building. Alright, so this is the text. So the font I want to use is this font, right? And that font has a look. I'm just going to pull it together like that. And that is the text that we have. Now, you see, there's something else that we need to do now. We want this text to come to the middle of this block. We can just drag it, right? We can just drag it here and put it in the middle, like however we want it to be. Put it in the middle, and it's all good. We can do it that way. We can just drag it like I've just done, but there's another way to do it that I think would be probably better. So I'm just going to take this out, right? And we'll talk about all this later. And then when I refresh my design view, we should go back to how it was. Now I'm going to talk about two nodes here, and we are going to take it a step at a time. If you're a designer or developer, you know what I'm talking about. There's no need to worry. But if you are not, then this part you need to pay attention. I'm going to talk about two nodes we're going to be using for a long time. So I'm going to talk about two nodes you are going to use a lot of the time, and that is padding and then margin. Yeah, I'm sure if you listen to these two, you would get what they are. Now, padding affects the inside of any element you're applying it to, whilst margin affects the outside. Now I'm going to show you. I'm just going to add margin to the left. It's just simple, margin to the left, right? Now if I add margin to the left and I start increasing it, what you can notice is it's affecting the outside of the text box, but it's acting on the inside of the block, right? So what is happening is that it's affecting elements on the outside of the text box. Now let's talk about padding. Let's say padding to the left, and you see what I'm talking about. As you can see, it's affecting the inside of the text box. right? And I don't really want that to happen, so I'm just going to go back to my 20. Now padding can help you space elements right inside, so that the text is not on the edge of the box. You can put padding all around the box. That's top right, bottom left. As you can see here, it's already added to you when you bring in a text. Now margin to the left, I'm still going to make it 0 because we want the text to be full. Now we are talking about moving this text to the middle. So instead of margin to the left, it's supposed to be margin to the top. And I'm just going to go ahead and just give it 90. Right? 90 is a bit much, so I can just deal with it this way, and then that is fine. As you can rightfully see, this is getting done, and it's very easy. As I said, you can just drag things around. If you're a designer, I'm sure that's your first instinct, but as you come to build with Alora, I'm sure you get used to the way of doing these things, and then you'd love it. Now I'm just going to add another block to this, right? Let's add another block. I added an image instead. I'm just going to delete this image. I don't want an image. I could do it this way. I could just put the image here. So for example, let's go in here and then put our image right beside this as we want it. So as you can see, in a short while we have our design. Now I can add text. Let's crown this design off with the text under, right? So I didn't save my previous one, that's why it's like this. I want to make sure that this is done properly, so let's give this a go. Now let's increase the height of this a bit, and then we can put this right where it needs to be. Let's change the color of it, and then we can change and leave the font size. So let's just type. So we have something doing here, right? And we can place this in the middle as we want it to be in the middle, and to actually even make sure that it's in the middle, you can check the width of this thing. This doesn't have a width yet, and we can add a width by increasing the width here, and then making sure that it has a width of, okay, so instead of all that, let's just make it a width of 40%, and then click on another element to save the previous one, or press Ctrl S to save. So we are building our website, and as you can see, this is very simple. It's very easy to deal with, and it's something that you would probably want to use this way to get your website done. Other things we could add here could be images and all that. This is a simple design. As you can see, in getting acquainted, we've actually created a simple design. But you know what? Building this is awesome, it's wonderful, and I'm sure a lot of people want to bring their ideas to life. But one way to make things easier for you is to just go ahead and use section styles, right? So I'm selecting this section, and I'm going to click on this section style. So this is what we have. We have a simple website. The navigation is already there. I'm going to show you how to put in navigation items and all that. There's a section style that has been applied, and all the animations done, text, everything. Put responsive. Let's look at the landscape view. It's still responsive, looks good. Let's go. Let's look at it on the phone. Let's say a simple phone, smaller phone. It looks good. So basically, you can have section styles that are already there to help you build your website faster, right? And you would want to take your time, build section styles for yourself to build your websites faster. But I've just introduced you to Alora and how it could make your website. You could build websites and all that. What you need to know is that everything that's built here was built with Alora, and all this responsiveness was done with Alora. And it's easy. As you saw, we just built something that we just killed. What I could have done was save that one and use it somewhere else. But basically, we can just do anything that we want, right? So one thing about Alora that is awesome is that this section style doesn't have to be used this way. If I don't really like this, all I have to do is just delete it. It doesn't affect anything, right? Also, I could also delete this, right? Let's just let this image go away. And then what I could also do is, as you can see, there's a block here that I might want, I might not want. It depends on me. If I want it, I can just take it, right? Let's just delete them one after the other, right? I delete this block, and then what I could add is okay. So let's just add this, delete this, delete. Oh, I don't need you. So we delete all that, right? And it's a section style I added, right? Okay. Now I'm going to take this block here, right? And I'm just going to add something simple to a text align, which we are going to talk about as we go on. And the text align is simple to align text or justify content. So I'm just going to push it to the right. Now we are changing the look of this website that we have here, right? We are changing the look with this section style that we applied. I'm just going to put a background image, right? You might not understand this now, but we are going to talk about it. And voila. All right. So one thing that we could do is select this section. Let's go to background image. We want to change the image that we have there with something that we have that is going to match our design. And so anything could work, and you have to mind your images. You have to make sure they work and not just anything you just use. All right, so basically we've changed the section style that we added to whatever we want, whatever design we want. And as you can see, let's go and see if it's still going to be responsive. Of course, it should be responsive. As you can see, it's not a matter of what you did, it's a matter of how you want your website to be and what you want to do. You can just do whatever it is that you need to do, and it's going to work perfectly for you. So basically, this website works as I wanted. I could just use section styles, build quite a beautiful website, publish it within a day, and I wouldn't have to stress out a lot. Now let's say I'm just building a simple personal website. So I have services added, and basically I can choose to even end it here by just putting in another section and then putting in a text right in the section, and deciding that I want the background of this text to be black, right? Let's just end this properly. So I'm just going to make the background of this to be totally black, and let's just change the footer text. I'm just going to make it so basically I'm just going to reduce the font because this is the footer, the end of the website. And I'm going to add an image to this, right? And I'm going to float the image to the right, and what I could have there is my logo, is social media icons. I could add a lot of them. So okay, so none of these icons would work because of the color. And okay, all right, so in order for it to work for us, let's just put in this, right? And then I'm going to change this background color to white, and if I do that, I'm going to make this one rather black. I just want to end this tutorial in a way that you kind of know what you could do with this software and the things that you could have. All right, so as a matter of fact, I'm done building a single page website in about 20 minutes with section styles, and you could build proper websites. I'm talking about real websites with let's go. So I'm just going to go to the Alora website itself and let you have a view of what you could actually do with the software if you so choose to. There are apps that I could show you, desktop applications, web applications, and even PWS, progressive web apps, which you can even now actually put in the app stores. So basically, so this is the Alora website, and if you are using the software, I'm sure you visited it already. So let's go ahead and just load any other page. Let's just go to the become a web designer page, and as you can see, as you can see, it's loaded, right? So there's the menu, it's in the app, basically done here, and you can see the website coming up right here. All the designs done here, animations all done in the software from scratch with nothing. So it's responsive. I'm sure if you visited it, you would know it's already responsive, and all the responsiveness was basically done with Alora, and it's simple. You can do it also, and there's nothing that is difficult about this, right? Okay, so let's just get back to our designs. In the next tutorial, we are going to start planning our website, and basically we go back to our tools, we start building a nice portfolio website that you can use anywhere. So thanks for watching. See you in the next video.